Hey guys, how's it going? Today I have another SKS to show you as part of my series, The Year of the SKS. But what I have here today is a 1951 Tula, made in Soviet Russia. Now, last week when I was showing you the 1949, I explained to you this is a light refurb. Some of the things have been changed on it, but in general, that gun was still blued, still had the bolt carrier in the white. And I brought up the fact that a lot of the refurbs had the parts painted. So this is a perfect example of that. You'll note that the receiver dust cover, the bolt carrier, even the gas tube, and the barrel are all painted in this black paint, which is commonly called barbecue paint, right? The stock was gone through in the Soviet arsenal and re-lacquered. The bayonet is the more common type that you would find on a Russian. It has the hard nickel, satin chrome, if you will, finish. Whereas the 1949 I showed you had the blued. Now, 1951 was kind of a transitional year, where the early 1951s had some of the early features like the spring-loaded firing pin, the different style bayonet, gas block, etc. This one would be a late 1951 or second half of the year, because this one has the non-spring loaded firing pin, just like you're probably mostly familiar with, and it pretty much has a lot of like the middle features. So this would be kind of a mid-production as far as the evolution of the SKS in Russia. You can basically separate them into early, middle, and late. So this has all the classic features of a mid-production Russian Tula SKS. You can see here on the dust cover, we have the Tula star, 1951R, and the little square with a line through it. And again, that square with a line through it means refurbished. Pardon me. The stock has also been redone, presumably by the Soviet arsenal. You can see some old stampings that are rather dim now and faded away. They would usually do a light sanding on these. And then it has a restamped serial number. And this is the current serial number of the gun. So you'll find this is very common. They'll take a stock off of another rifle, repurpose it, put it on this one. So there we go. So yeah, this is a much more common example of what a lot of you probably have or have seen. Just a classic refurbished Russian. Now this gun still looks great, guys. It looks practically brand new, because after they were refurbished, a lot of these guns were just put away, never issued to anybody, and then sold to consumers in the United States. Now this particular 1951 actually is a special rifle to me. This was given to me by my dad. He gave it to me quite a few years ago. And he bought a couple SKSs back in the early 90s, late 80s. He had a Chinese and a Russian, and this one was his favorite out of the two. And he told me when he picked this one out, they had a bunch of them for sale, and he just thought this one had really pretty wood. And I agree with him. I'm going to show some close-ups of the wood here. It has a really pretty tiger stripe look to it. Really, really nice wood on this stock, guys. The finish is in great shape. Ever since my dad had this gun, he's kept it up real nice, and I've done the same. But yeah, just because it's a refurb does not mean it's an ugly gun, guys. You can see lots of burling and, like, again, like kind of like a tiger stripe look in this Arctic birch hardwood stock. So yeah, this one means quite a bit to me. It's not that my dad didn't really like the SKS. He had two of them, a Chinese and this one, but I was kind of getting more and more into milsurps, and he knew it, and he just kind of thought I would enjoy it more than him. And I asked him one day, you know, would you sell it to me? And he said, no, I'm not going to sell it to you, but I will give it to you. So this rifle means quite a bit to me. It's actually one of my favorite rifles that I have. It has a Russian sling, you know, that canvas cotton type material with the leather tabs. You'll note instead of being blued on this 1951, we have an in the white rear sight. And it is Tula marked with the little Tula star. Pretty standard fare here, guys. But yeah, most of the parts match on this gun. The gas tube, I'm not quite sure if it'll pick it up good, has an electro penciled serial number right in the crevice there. Yeah, you can see that just a little bit. And this was also very common during refurbishment. Basically, all of the parts had to match. when it left the arsenal, after they re-arsenaled or refurbished the gun, and they would electro-pencil the hard parts, the metal parts, and they would go through like they did on the stock here and kind of sand down the old serial number, which you can see right here, and then stamp in a new one. So yeah, this is all pretty standard stuff that a lot of you have probably seen, but again, I just thought this was a pretty nice one, and it kind of shows a transition from the early 1949 I showed. And this has a lot of the newer features to it. It does not have the spring-loaded firing pin. The very early 1951s did, but by the time you got past the first couple months of production of 51 and on, they went to more of what we call the classic, you know, standard features. So this has the second type gas block on it. It has the second type, or third type I should say, bayonet. The very early ones had a spike, then they transitioned into a blued, and this has the hard chrome or nickel or whatever you want to call it bayonet. So yeah, I'm going to keep this video pretty short. Just wanted to kind of show you guys what a more of a heavier refurbished Russian SKS would look like. And this being a 51, it's where Russia started to transition to a few, you know, modernized parts, a few changes in features. So I will have another Russian for you guys next week. And until then, leave a comment if you guys have your own SKS stories to share, or if you guys have any questions. And there's going to be a lot more SKS videos to come. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.